We don't spare a dime.
Okay, wow. Okay, well, I don't think we had flowers at Tribeca. Did we have flowers at Tribeca? Okay. What's happening, people? Thank you, Mark.
Well, thank you. Thank both of you. We wouldn't be sitting here talking about it if it wasn't for the two of you. So, I want to ask you, obviously we know there's rabid fans, there's thousands of people, but there's one right here.
Where's Camilla? Oh, there you are. Hey. Hey.
But-
It's like got that light right there. Yeah. That's it.
Well, we'll get to them in a minute, but the question I want to ask is, I don't know of any band that has this kind of engagement with their audience than Metallica. So what do you think? And Jonas, what have you learned as well of working with them for 30 years that both of you attribute that to? We know the music and all the other things we're thinking of, but why do we see this reaction?
You want to go first? Me again? I guess the first thought that comes to mind is because we are fans, and that will always be part of who we are. So when I see these guys out in the front row, that was me, and still is me. Whether it's music, or whether it's film, or whether it's any kind of other creative endeavors or art in general. But we were just talking at dinner 5 minutes ago about seeing Deep Purple in 1973. Actually saw them twice in 1973, and seeing all these bands around Copenhagen. Thin Lizzy and Black Sabbath and Rainbow and Sweet and Slade and Status Quo and blah blah blah. And I was the guy that somehow ended up outside the Plaza Hotel in Copenhagen, next to the main train station, waiting for Richie Blackmore or Phil Lynott to try to get their autographs. And whenever anything has spoken to me, appealed to me, fascinated me creatively, I've always wanted to try to get close to it. And so I think the answer really is that all of us, and Kirk, Rob, and James all are like-minded in that sense, and I think all of us really just so identify with the fans and the people that are out there, because we're just the ones up on stage, but we're all the same. And ultimately, if there's any kind of, I'm not big on manifests or MOs or whatever, but if there's anything that Metallica certainly strives for, is to try to break down that barricade, that barrier that exists between a band and an audience, and try to do away with whatever it is that separates us, and try to have us all just be one, sharing an experience together. And so that's sort of what's in our headspace. That was in our heads when we started 150 years ago, and that's still in our heads now. The only difference is that what we're doing is connecting with more people than it used to.
Yeah, well,
That was the short answer.
that's the short answer. Well, I want to get Jonas's thoughts of not only working with you, but obviously directing this film. But a word that comes to mind for me is authentic. Both the band and the members of the band, that it comes across all the time. But
Yeah, and I mean, very much like Lars is saying, this wouldn't have existed unless they were fans and also invested so much time in it and really care about it. Because a lot of bands that I work with never do that. But the fact that the band has been so open about their issues to really make it authentic, and that draws different types of stories that I didn't really expect I was going to see. You know, I started myself going to Metallica shows, and I was also that guy that was, you know, getting the autographs, so I could identify with it, but I was prepared for beer drinking, headbanging, young males, and then this happened. Once we started to go deep into it and start to see the diversity, hear these stories, and it couldn't really stop. It just kept going and going.
Yeah, we didn't see the 9-hour version though. But
Yeah.
I think do we have time?
We've locked the doors from the outside, and guess what? Yeah, we're gonna have a sleepover here in Mill Valley. The 9-hour version is imminent.
So, let me ask you about this too. Over these nearly, or maybe more than 30 years, what has changed? Has there been a change in terms of the fans, other than more, as you mentioned, but in terms of how the relationship is with it? Or is it, again, as Jonas was saying, the consistency, the honesty, the authenticness of, you know, the band members and the relationship with your community?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind when you say what's changed is social media. So social media.
What's that?
It's coming to Middle Valley soon. But you know, so obviously now, you know, so 20, 30 years ago, if you played a show in Dusseldorf, then nobody outside of Dusseldorf would know what the set list was, other than the 10,000 people or 20,000 people, whatever, that would show up at that gig in Dusseldorf. Now, when you play in Dusseldorf, 5 minutes later, everybody in the whole world knows what's going on and what you're playing. And so, in some way, the whole world becomes your audience in that sense, not just the people in Dusseldorf. But obviously, social media it helps identify, and then is a tool in the community, and you saw in the film how it helps people connect, and it helps share and meet up and all this type of stuff. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I guess if you're talking specifically more about the fans and circling back to the sort of 30, 40-year-old cliche of the 16-year-old male, long-haired guy banging his head against the stage, as you guys can see, that particular, narrow depiction of a Metallica fan is just decades long gone, and we're so proud to have the diversity, in every sense of that word, age-wise, gender-wise, and all the rest of the different categories that comes into. And it's really cool as people and fans grow with us. And we obviously, in our early 60s, have fans that have been with us for 40 plus years and are in their early 60s, but more and more younger people. And in the last 2-3 years, I can tell you that the amount of younger people coming to Metallica shows and experiencing Metallica for the first time is continuing to grow, literally scaling. And so 10 or 20 years ago, the amount of young people, and that has something to do with, the algorithms, and, so this whole, you can sit and try to intellectualize all that for hours in terms of when you're a 12-year-old, and then you go into a deep dive and you find Black Sabbath and you find Deep Purple and you find this and that, and then, it's crazy, but certainly technology has a lot to do with it. And it's a great thing that 43 years, give or take, right? That it just actually still keeps reaching more people.
It's amazing.
It's like
it's
such a
great. It
mind
must
fuck,
just
yeah.
feel amazing.
Because it's really good.
Yeah. Maybe we can turn professional one day. We'll see. Maybe we'll
Try to get it right.
do this full time one day.
But I have to say the one thing that fascinated me was beyond the people that actually goes to the show and are privileged to come and see the shows, like the Botswana guys that we found, and Arctic Circle and Saudi, and all those people that had their stories, their view on this. That really made it an extra layer for me when we started to investigate this.
How long were you shooting this?
Weirdly enough, the actual shoot days wasn't as much as you may think, but the research to get to that point took a while. So it was a pretty solid year of research before we actually started to shoot. And then we ended up in the edit room for over a year in the edit room. Because I had this massive, my strategy was to have quantity in order to get quality in the edit room. It was probably the easiest elevator pitch I ever heard when I first heard about this. I was like, I'm in. And I didn't realize what it took to get to this point. I was like, yeah, we're going to interview some fans. It's going to be awesome. Great. But then when I started to investigate and found these sidetracks and found all these interesting stories, that's when it really happened. And in documentaries, we write our script in the edit room, so we had all this footage, and then we had like this hidden backbone, which is the kind of like the chronological order of Metallica, where we started in the early days and went all the way up to today. So we knew that, but then we can just like add all the gravy on top.
Well, it's incredible. I know there's a lot of people in the audience who may have questions, and we have a really terrific mic runner.
You guys are so quiet, I gotta say. Yeah. Compared to Tribeca 4 months ago, people were just screaming through the whole thing. You guys are all very polite. Very Mill Valley. Thank you very much. Anyway.
Before we get to the questions, is there anything you guys want to say specifically? How was dinner? Dinner was
great. Yeah. Buckle of 44. Almost any one of the appetizers can be made vegan. Just in case you were wondering. I know you were wondering. So now you know.
Okay. We have Zoe Elton in the house, who has offered to take questions from the audience here. I see a lot of hands down here and some in the balcony.
Okay, put your hand up high so I can see. Here
Hi.
we go. Let's start over here. Okay.
Hi, you guys. Congratulations on the documentary. I'm from Chile, and I saw that Chile was present. Chile! Ah! Amazing. So I want to know, how is your relationship to the Chilean audience? Because it's a really special energy that we have. So how was that experience for you guys playing in the Antarctica too?
Well, Camilla up here in the front row, who was in the movie, she's the chapter head of every single person in Chile that appreciates the talent, and so she represents all the, how many million are we talking? 17 million. The 17 million Chileans are represented tonight through Camilla. But every time, all kidding aside, of course, every time we first were in Santiago in '93, I believe, and it's always crazy great. We started the last run, right? 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we were in Chile for 4 or 5 days for pre-production, and always great. And actually, I'll tell you something that hope maybe shouldn't leave this room, but you guys know Cage the Elephant? I saw Cage the Elephant open for Oasis the other day, and we actually did Lollapalooza in Santiago at the end of the Lollapalooza run, and us and Cage the Elephant ended up in a place where they were handing out pisco sours like bottled water, and that did not end well. I don't know why I just went there, but anyways, the short answer again, yes, Chile and Santiago is always very much appreciated, and please give my best to everybody back there that Camilla doesn't know.
Okay, our next question.
Next question is in the balcony.
Hi everyone, my name is Evangelos. I'm seeing the documentary for the second time, and I enjoyed it the same way I did the first time.
Thank you.
Are we going to see a physical copy at some point, and will it have extras?
I think two words for it, director's cut. They'll start with a 9-hour version, and then there'll be a 7-hour version or 5-hour. Mark, how many versions? As many as we want. There you go. Where did you see it? Okay, was that the same cut?
No, that's a long one.
That's a longer one. So you've already seen two different versions. You want to?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of footage. Yeah. a lot of great stories. There really is, and it was like, yeah, it was hard to kill your thoughts.
At one point, you may see a version where you wish you were seeing the 9-hour version, just to keep it on the short side. There's a lot, and we're maybe one day we'll show all of it in real time,
Yeah.
unedited.
Yeah. No,
Just
no.
that's okay. Anyway,
Next question is up
Yeah.
here.
Follow up to this one. My name is Tomek. I'm here locally from San Francisco, originally from Poland. When some kind of monster came out, documentary 20 plus years ago, that movie also was accessible in independent movie theaters, small theaters like this. And there was something that was, from what I remember, happening in many different countries in the world. Is there something like this being planned as for this? Because I think that the audience is going to agree that it would be worth showing, not on the plastic little thing, but true, real atmosphere, like movies, really, like right now.
plastic little thing. The intention at this point is to get this out in theaters all over the world, hopefully first or second quarter of next year. The person you should really talk to about all this is that guy sitting there, Mark. Right?
Will be available for 9 hours. So.
Theaters at some point next spring, right? That's what we're doing? Okay. I'm just the drummer.
We're coming over here, and then we're going to come down the front. Let me see if I can pass this down. I think we can be able to do this. Okay, here you go.
I was struck by how touching the film was, and it seems like emotion might be one of the things that people really bond with you about. And I was wondering if you guys think about that consciously when you're playing and when you're writing.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I think as we get older and you realize that more of your life is behind you than in front of you, and also this gentleman was talking about some kind of monster. You know, on the other side of that experience 20 years ago was the first time that we were maybe confronted with a different set of dynamics and sort of the possibilities that all of it could go belly up. So I think as we get older and we've all in various ways, each of us tackled the issues and the demons that all of us face individually and to a degree collectively, we're becoming more and more comfortable about letting it all out there, and transparency. You were kind enough to use the word, Mark, authenticity. So you know, we're trying. I sort of visualize it by feeling that, you know, if there's a door, we've always felt that there was a door that we, you know, a portal to share experiences and open the door to Metallica, and I guess I've always felt that that door should not be a moving target. It shouldn't be like closed when there's something unpleasant and wide open when it's all super cool or whatever. That door should be as open as possible for all the time. But certainly as you get older, I think we get more and more comfortable with being transparent and letting all that out in the music and the songs and way we connect, you know, in all the different ways with our fans and our audience. Thank you.
Okay, there's a question over here.
I was just wondering, what tips do you guys have for aspiring musicians who want to create things and end up like creating beautiful projects like this?
Well, thank you. Stick with it. Focus. Certainly, the 10,000 hours thing is something that it comes up in my head. You got to put the time in. There are many different ways you can put the time in. It could be in book form or at the receiving end of teaching or whatever, but you can also literally play guitars or drums or whatever you're doing and listen. There's no right or wrong path. I think it's pretty clear as that with anything you gotta put the time in. Whether you're making films or running film festivals or whatever, you just gotta put the time in. And then maybe be honest with yourself about your motives. There's no right or wrong motives. Do you want to play music because the passion burns inside you? Do you want to play music to get famous? Do you want to play music to get wealthy? There's nothing wrong or right with any of it, but don't bullshit yourself what your motives are, if you know what I mean, because that will also lead you to wherever it is you want to go with probably fewer forks in the road or fewer obstacles. Camilla, you keep raising your hand. You can shout your question. Yeah.
What?
Zoe's gonna.
Let's get Camilla, and then we have two people over here.
Okay,
All right. Yeah. Hang on, no one's going to be able to hear you. Hello.
What Jonas was
All the
saying.
way from Adelaide, Australia.
Correct.
Yeah. You guys think you have a long commute home? Oh, I gotta go to the city. She's gotta go back to Adelaide. Sorry.
I've seen this movie 5 times, I think now. 3 different cuts, I think. How hard is it for you to make a new cut every single time? Because for me, I watch this movie every time I cry. Today I didn't cry, which is good because I feel like I'm accepting what I'm seeing. You know, it's a part of me now. This movie as well. You know. So how hard is it for you as a director to leave things out or include more things when it's already a very solid piece of work?
Yeah, I mean, it's as long as the result is, you know, staying as powerful as we want it to be, it's fine. I always knew going into this that it wasn't going to be a lot of stories on the edit room floor. I miss them and I love them. Nothing is on the floor because it's not as good as the other stuff. It's just the balance and getting it right. And you know, we're trying to listen to notes and feedback and, you know, take all that in and try to understand what it is we're doing. So it was a little bit of a test run, that first run with a slightly longer version, and we learned from that, and that's how we kind of like just move forward with it. So, but just knowing that some of this footage is going to be seen later is a good thing for us. So none of it was wasted time. But it's also like very fragile at this point. It really is like a card house. Like you move one thing and a whole section could just fall apart. You know, it's really fragile. So we're doing it with, you know, we're very careful when we do it. Yeah, so that's my job, to keep my eye on that and make sure it doesn't cut, because we're also blind to it because we've seen it so many times. You know, so that's kind of my job. I'm a director, but I'm also an editor, and I always say to the people I work with, a good thing with me as an editor is that the director is not around, because I know how to let go of that and become the editor. But it is a really fragile process, and I've seen it fall apart many times. You know, you reach a point where it is at the best, and then you continue a little bit more, and then it starts to go down. So yeah, it's scary.
So this is the no tears version, the no tears cut. I like that. We finally got it. I don't know if any of you guys were clocking it, but we finally got it to under the famous under 2 hours, which is in this case 1:59 and like 52 seconds.
Oh, shit.
Thank you. Anyway, over here.
Right. Yeah. Lars, when you watch the movie and you see all the fans and they're saying all these things from all different parts of the world, what does it make you feel about when you first set up
Weepy
with James Metallica? I mean, did you have a vision then? Could you put it into words, or was it just fuck yeah, let's do this? And are you galvanized to take the band into a new chapter when you see all these fans saying what they're saying?
Well, thank you for that. No, it's a lot of different emotions. I mean, the first times we saw this in Mexico City about a year ago, we were all just sitting like crying, weeping, proud. I don't know, sort of just appreciative, grateful, probably mostly, I mean, the craziest thing for me, because, you know, when James and I started, I was 17, and so this is basically this is the only thing I've ever done in my life, and so, you know, when you watch this movie, when we watched it the first time, it's basically like your whole life in front of your, flashing in front of your eyes. This is not just a part of it, and then when I was doing that, and then, you know, this is everything I've ever done other than the first 16 years of attempting to play tennis. And so from 17 on, this is it. You're looking at my life. So it's kind of a bit of a mind fuck. The sort of the you know, the fact that it's still connecting, the longevity of it. That's in the purest moments. It's being probably dumbfounded by the fact, because if you and I were sitting here or whatever, sitting anywhere in 1983, right, 42 years ago, going in 2025, 42 years from now, we'll be sitting in a movie theater looking at all this, and, you know, Grammys and stadiums and like I said, that would not be an option of how that was going to play out. Also because in 1980 whatever, nobody, I mean, when we started Metallica, I love to get people's reaction when they say, when we started Metallica, Paul McCartney, Mick Jagger, all those guys, they were still in their 30s. I mean, that's fucking crazy, right? They were still in their 30s. So the idea that you could play rock and roll in your 60s, much less play rock and roll in your 80s like those guys are doing now, or Springsteen in the 70s, or Neil Young, or all these amazingly cool people, that didn't exist. So the idea, it's like, okay, fine, let's start a band, and then 5 years from now we'll get real jobs and whatever else. And so the fact that 42 years later that this is still connecting, you know, with, you know, everybody, you know, in terms of just such a cross section of people of all the ages and demographics and countries and all the rest of it. What about the dude, what's his name, the kid playing the riffs, you know? You know, that's just insane. So the idea that that's happened, you know what I mean? So, and to the other part of your question, I don't know if it's, certainly that appreciation and being grateful is a part of everything that we do. I don't know if I can pinpoint and say, you know, in 72 seasons, that song has some of that in it, or on, you know, the next album, I don't know yet. So many of the things that you do when you're creating are just subconscious, and sometimes you don't even know for another 10 or 20 years, you'll connect some dots later. But I'll keep your question in mind. Thank you.
Okay, so I know we've got a lot more questions. I'm going to ask Lars you to choose a couple of people, but I know there was someone here.
But you and I have already Zoomed.
And
Let's hang on. I'll get to you. You'll be the button. You'll be the button. Go ahead. You want to go? Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, Lars, as somebody who loves cinema like you and that whole medium of storytelling, how close were you to the narrative and the editing process? And I kind of follow up for Jonas, how open were you to any kind of collaboration like that?
Well, thank you for that question. I'm hovering, there when I'm needed and trying to stay clear when I'm not needed or get annoying. Jonas and I have known each other for, like we said before, almost 30 years, and I'm, very in awe of him as a filmmaker. The other projects that he's done. When I saw his first movie, Spun, it literally blew my head off, and I would encourage anybody here to check it out or see some of the Prodigy videos or any of the stuff that he's done about the Norwegian, death metal scene. I mean, the list is endless, but so Jonas and I have circled some different creative things along the way, and I've been there giving him feedback on some other projects he's done, and when we've done Metallica projects, maybe I'm the mouthpiece for some of the feedback. So there's always been a connection. Scandinavian brothers in arms, separated by Eurosol, and the fact that these guys had 2 TV stations when I was growing up, and Denmark only had 1. So I'm sort of, there when needed, and also happy to stay the fuck away when that was what was best. And
yeah, it was a little unusual process because we started talking a lot about it, and then they went on tour, and I shot the film. So we were kind of like apart for quite some time, and then we did that first screening in Mexico City. And I'm usually not nervous because I work together, but flying to Mexico City with a hard drive in my hand was scary because we haven't really talked in a while, and that was the first time. And I reminded you guys, this is the first time and only chance you have to get a first impression. You'll never feel like this again. And then we started to work in the edit, and like, to me, going into a project like this, it's no point of doing this unless the band is proud of this film. That's what the whole point of it is. It's not my film, it's really their film and the fans' film. So I have to listen, and I have to translate notes into reality, and we can have discussions about stuff, but I know protocol. I know how it works. I've been around long enough to understand. But so far, everything we do, it's amazing. So we're good. Yeah.
Hi, Lars. I was fortunate enough to be at the Back to the Beginning, and I wanted to just get your take on any special memory that you might have from that. You talked about how you look at the time in front of you and behind you, and that.
Yeah, I mean, it was just such an emotional 4 or 5 days. Being there, sound check, everything leading up to it. And then kind of having the show day itself was kind of very focused on just playing but the whole thing was just crazy and really very just emotional, and kind of like other people have used this word, but sort of summer campy, seeing a lot of people that you unfortunately don't see all that often, and maybe also coming to the realization that maybe a significant amount of these people you'll only see either at funerals or at other similar celebrations of other bands who we cherish and appreciate at that level. So a lot of emotion, and but what a great event. Thanks for asking.
We're going to have one last question from Australia.
Have you noticed, like, nobody has left?
I
Usually,
know.
when I do Q&As, normally, like, people are
Yeah.
like streaming out the door. It's like, it's a very captive audience.
It is, and I value that. and
Thank you,
appreciate it.
yes.
What I was going to say is I feel an obligation that we have people who have tickets to the reception, and there's vendors there and all that, but there is going to be another screening.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to come back tomorrow,
And,
it's 3 o'clock.
I believe it is
at
3
the
o'clock.
Raphael.
It'll be the same edit. Maybe, we'll see.
We'll see what they can get finished after the reception.
See if
So-
we can, but tomorrow, and I'll be stopping by also, so you can, see if my answers match.
It's like a whole new cut will be tomorrow. Totally different answers.
But yeah, what's 1 or 2 more or whatever? Boy, anybody else before we get?
They are telling us last question.
That's
But,
it.
so,
Can you do Rochambeau with him? Go ahead. Oh, he was first.
Oh, man. Hey, Lars. My girlfriend and I saw you at Santa Clara, and that was one of the best concert dates we've ever had. And I want to say thank you for that. But I had a question for any musician here. Is there anything that helps you maybe deal with performance anxiety before you perform?
No, I just want to get on with it. It's like it's the waiting. Sometimes it's just like, let's get out there and get amongst it. Just get out there. Somebody said, I can't remember who it was, but somebody said, maybe it was Robin Wood. Somebody, it's like the easier thing is to kind of like go into it instead of like run away from it. So it's just like come out. So it's like if you're on stage, or go to the front of the stage rather than hover at the back. So it's literally just like, hey, how you doing? See, this is less weird than being up there, because it's just like I'm in it, you know. So kind of just getting out there and in it and in the thick of it, rather than kind of hovering or being sheepish about it. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay. All right. Last question.
When are you coming back to Asia?
Soon.
Tonight?
And we end with the shortest answer possible. Thank you for coming out. Maybe come and join us tomorrow at the Raphael at 3 o'clock. All right then. See you all across.